Battle between President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions is escalating. Tonight, we're watching a civil war between mostly Southern senators loyal to the man from Alabama as he challenges the president out there loudly trying to dump him. The fight is now making Republicans take sides between Donald Trump, a former Democrat from New York, let's remember, and Jeff Sessions, a favorite of the old Confederacy. Well, the president's latest assault is to hit Jeff Sessions for not removing the acting FBI director. Remember that one? He tweeted, "Why didn't Attorney General Sessions replace acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe, a Comey friend who was in charge of Clinton investigation but got big dollars for his wife's political run from Hillary Clinton and her representatives? Drain the swamp." That's Trump. But once again, Trump's bugle call was unrelated to reality. For one thing, Sessions wasn't even Attorney General when the FBI was going after Clinton's email. And second, President Trump himself has the authority to remove McCabe, and he hasn't done so. Well, the president's real problem here with Sessions is that he can't protect Trump from special counsel Bob Mueller. For this reason, Trump has spent this week leveling a steady stream of attacks. Let's listen.
Well, Sessions should have never recused himself. And if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else. I appointed a man to a position. And then shortly after he gets the position, he recused himself. I said, "What's that all about? Why didn't you tell me that you were going to do that, and I wouldn't have appointed you?"
I want the Attorney General to be much tougher on the leaks from intelligence agencies, which are leaking like rarely have they ever leaked before at a very important level. I told you before, I'm very disappointed with the Attorney General, but we will see what happens. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Well, that's pretty menacing. Anyway, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said today the president hasn't made a decision yet on whether to sack Sessions. Let's watch.
I think the president's been very clear about where he is. He's obviously disappointed, but also wants the Attorney General to continue to focus on the things that the Attorney General does. He wants him to lead the Department of Justice.
If he is so frustrated and so disappointed in him, why doesn't he just ask him to resign or fire him? Why does he continue to just tweet about him instead?
Look, you can be disappointed in someone, but still want them to continue to do their job, and that's where they are.
Continue in that job?
I think that I made clear last week, if there comes a point he doesn't, he'll make that decision.
Well, according to Sanders, that's the press secretary there, President Trump and Jeff Sessions haven't spoken in the past week. Well, that's hard to have a conversation if you're not having a conversation. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, Senator Chuck Schumer warned that if the president fired Sessions and tried to replace him during the August recess, that would lead to a constitutional crisis. For more, I'm joined by Paul Butler, a former federal prosecutor, U.S. Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. He sits on the Intelligence Committee, and Philip Bump, political reporter for the Washington Post. Congressman, I always like elected officials to speak first since you are elected. What do you think is the political reason why the president's doing this Chinese water torture of his Attorney General, the guy he picked, his loyalist, rather than just doing the, whatever you call it, the manly thing or whatever you might say, and make a frickin' decision about whether he wants him as Attorney General and make it public? Why is he doing this?
I think the first reason is he wants to squash the Russian investigation. He's positively obsessed with it, as evidenced by his tweets and his actions. He'd be better off letting us do the job and let Mr. Mueller do the job. If he wants people to stop talking about it, he should stop tweeting it. But the nightmare that you see from this is, I guess his idea is if he fires Sessions, puts in a lapdog, the lapdog fires Rosenstein and Mueller and either guts or ends the investigation into how the Russians interfered in the democratic process.
Well, why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he just fire Sessions, use the recess appointment later in August to do just what you said? Fire Rosenstein if he doesn't fire Mueller, and then put somebody else in there, a lapdog, and get that lapdog to do it. If he doesn't get him, he goes to another lapdog. Just keep doing it till he fires Mueller and ends this thing. Why doesn't he just do that?
Yeah, I pride myself in the fact that I can't read this man's mind, and I have no idea what he's going to do tomorrow, and that's also a little scary.
Paul Butler, sir, thank you for this. Give us, I don't know if there's a legal analysis, as the congressman just said, it's hard to read Trump's mind, let alone his legal thinking. Is he getting legal advice? Has he been lawyered up himself to be told, be careful, get this guy to jump, don't push him?
Probably, but we know this is a client who does not listen to lawyers. So he has three options with regard to Sessions. He signed an executive order that says if the Attorney General leaves, the position goes to the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who the president is also not crazy about. His other option is the Vacancy Act, which allows him to appoint anybody who's already been confirmed by the Senate for any position as the acting Attorney General for 210 days. Third option, recess appointment. We heard all about this during the Obama administration. So the Senate would have to go in recess for 10 days, and then Trump would be able to appoint anyone he wants in that office, again, as long as they've been confirmed by the Senate, until 2019, when the Senate is out of session.
But legally, wouldn't he be within his power, this president, to fire Sessions, and during this August recess, use that opportunity to pick somebody he's given an ambassadorship to and has been confirmed, and say, come on, I need you for a couple of days' work here. I'll give you the ambassadorship back in a week, but you're here to fire Mueller. That's all I want you here for. And then you can have some other type of ambassadorship again if you want one.
Well, two problems with that. One, under the Vacancies Act, the president can appoint an acting if that permanent person has resigned. It seems like if the person's fired by the president, then the president isn't allowed to go that route. More importantly, Chris, if he does any of these routes, fires Mueller, everybody knows it's because he's trying to stop the investigation. That's obstruction of justice. That's trying to impede an official investigation, so Congress could use that as an article of impeachment.
Wow. Let me go to Philip Bump. What do you make of this history? What's the pattern of Trump that we're seeing here? He's been pretty ruthless so far, meaning willing to do what is necessary to get where he wants to get, which is to kill this investigation.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, obviously, the fact that James Comey is no longer the FBI director points to the fact that Donald Trump is willing to pull the trigger on occasion.
And Sally Yates was also goodbyed.
Exactly. Although Sally Yates, I think, is a sort of slightly different. I mean, he had a much better cause for Sally Yates, I think, than he did for Comey. I mean, the interesting thing here is that Jeff Sessions was his guy. He was a guy who was there early on in the primaries. He was down with Donald Trump. He was a loyalist to Donald Trump. And Trump turned on him solely because of the Russia investigation. It's clear he doesn't want to fire him outright. It's not really clear why that is. But
what isn't clear?
It's not clear why Trump doesn't just fire him as opposed to trying to push him out.
Mr. Brothers suggested there's a legal reason, but I think it's pretty clear he wants him out of there.
Right.
He wants Mueller quashed.
That's right.
He wants no more special prosecutor name. And I don't blame him if I were worried about things about what I done, because you know the history of special prosecutors. Guess what they do? They prosecute.
Right.
They don't give up and say, oh, I guess there's nothing wrong here. They spend months and months and months as history, whether it's Lawrence Walsh or it's Jaworski, or it's Ken Starr.
Sure.
They look and look and look till they find some crap on the guy, and then they move. Anyway, the president's attacks on Jeff Sessions have drawn significant criticism from Republican senators and conservatives. Watch, these are mostly Southern senators. There's a real sort of regional thing here. They consider Sessions one of their own, sort of an old Southern guy, and you can almost hear Dixie in their voices. Watch this.
I would fire somebody that I did not believe could serve me well, rather than trying to humiliate them in public, which is a sign of weakness. He's trying to get Sessions to quit, and I hope Sessions doesn't quit. And if the president wants to fire him, fire him.
Jeff Sessions is an honorable man. He did what I believe any ethical attorney general would do under the circumstances.
He is one of the most honest people you would ever know. He is a man of very high integrity, and he is an Eagle Scout. Jeff Sessions has my confidence.
He's a man of courage. He's a man of purpose, and he's a man of substance.
I think that his independence has been proven by his willingness to recuse himself.
Jeff has been very loyal to the president, and I think he deserves loyalty back.
I personally would strongly recommend against firing Sessions. Sessions has been remarkably loyal to the president, and loyalty, I think, has to be a two-way street.
Congressman Quigley, you're from Illinois, but figure this out. There seems to be a regional loyalty to one of their own, to Sessions. I mean, he's one of the post-1964, I mean that seriously, Southern Republicans now. They used to be all Southern Democrats, Dixiecrats. Now they're all very loyal to Trump. And it looks like he's the leader among them. They're all sticking to him.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The president has to remember something. This battle will be over someday. Heck, the health care battle will be over someday. He's only got 52 votes in the Senate. You can't go alienating them when you're having 50-50 votes on critical issues. Obviously, the president doesn't understand that old notion, the buck stops here. If you've watched the first half of this year, everything is somebody else's fault. The raid in Yemen was the general's fault. It's either the press, the Democrats, the Republicans, or his staff. Anybody but himself.
Paul Butler, give me a sense of how all these machinations by Trump over the last several weeks and months now begin to look like obstruction if that is a determination by the special counsel Mueller. Where do you see him heading toward putting the, as we say in journalism, collecting string, pieces of the argument?
Yeah, that's what prosecutors do. That's what Mueller's doing. He chases leads. It's very clear that President Trump's end game is to stop this investigation. So if we look at the obstruction of justice statute, it says you're guilty if you attempt to impede an official investigation. So under criminal law, President Trump might not be guilty, but under the articles of impeachment, that could still be used along with abuse of office. Again, it's clear he's very afraid of a Russian collusion investigation. He's doing whatever he can to impede that. Again, if it's not a crime, it's a ground for impeachment.
Phil, I keep thinking about this all day when I come to work. I think Trump, whatever you think of the guy, makes sense. He's fighting what he thinks is an existential threat to his existence as president. He believes if he lets Mueller work with the top group of lawyers he's got, they will find something in his business. They'll go after his tax records. They'll get his tax records with a court order. They will dig and dig and dig. And we saw what happened. I'm not saying fair or not, although I don't think Trump's got problems here that he's made himself. Right. If you look at what happened to Clinton, a guy a lot of people who watch the show liked, and I liked, he got in trouble because it had something to do with Whitewater, which may have been nothing. But that led to Paula Jones, which led to Monica Lewinsky. This stuff metastasizes. And I'm sure this president is not stupid enough or not ignorant enough of history, although sometimes I wonder, that he must know these things can blow up, even if he didn't do anything wrong. That's an even if. It'll find something that he did do wrong, and he knows Mueller's going to find it if it's there.
I think the thing that we've learned about Donald Trump over the course of the past 18 months is he does not think 4 steps ahead. He thinks 1 step ahead. He thinks about what he can do to get out of the predicament he's in now, and he's been very good at that. I mean, he got into a lot of predicaments on the campaign trail that no one would have expected him to be able to get out of.
He's got to cut the fuse. The fuse is coming to him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he knows what he's in a whole different infrastructure now, right? I mean, he's used to being in the corporate world, having lawyers around to protect him. This is a whole different thing.
He's never feared something like this. Total national humiliation after becoming president of the United States. It is a real fear I think he has. I don't think he can get out of his head in the middle of the night. He's thinking Sessions at 3 in the morning. That's the phone call he's getting. You're laughing, Paul. I think that's the phone call that keeps ringing in his ears, the one that hasn't rung yet. This guy is coming after you, and this guy's got the best resume I've ever seen of anybody in American life, this guy, Bob Mueller. This guy is a winner. Anyway, favorite of the old Confederacy. Well, the president's latest assault is to hit Jeff Sessions for not removing the acting FBI director. Remember that one? He tweeted, why didn't Attorney General Sessions replace acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe, a Comey friend who was in charge of Clinton investigation but got big dollars for his wife's political run from Hillary Clinton? And the battle between President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions is escalating. Tonight, we're watching a civil war between mostly Southern senators loyal to the man from Alabama as he challenges the president out there loudly trying to dump him. The fight is now making Republicans take sides between Donald Trump, a former Democrat from New York, let's remember, and Jeff Sessions from special counsel Bob Mueller. For this reason, Trump has spent this week leveling a steady stream of attacks. Let's listen.
Well, Sessions should have never recused himself. And if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else. I appointed a man.
Her representatives drain the swamp. That's Trump. But once again, Trump's bugle call was unrelated to reality. For one thing, Sessions wasn't even Attorney General when the FBI was going after Clinton's email. And second, President Trump himself has the authority to remove McCabe, and he hasn't done so. Well, the president's real problem here with Sessions is that he can't protect Trump.
To a position. And then shortly after he gets the position, he recused himself. I said, what's that all about? Why didn't you tell me that you were going to do that, and I wouldn't have appointed you?
I want the Attorney General to be much tougher on the leaks from intelligence agencies, which are leaking like